Why are you walking down Main Street with no damn clothes on?
Sir, you say that like it's a bad thing. The Lord made these clothes I wear.
All right, enough of this. Turn around, put your hands behind your back. Stop resisting or you catch another charge.
Tag, officer, you're it. Tag, Marco Polo.
Oh, you're going to the ground. Do you want to get tased?
Oh, I bet I blow a 666 again, officer.
Nope, not this time. You got a 667. That's a 666 with my extra long thumb checking your oil.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the live today. Speaking of live, we got a lively group already in the chat. That's awesome to see. Great from, wow, we got Jesse here. Geez, from Chiang Mai, Thailand. That's awesome, Jesse. That's where my doctor, my oncologist was from, that worked on me in 2001 and saved my life. I owe him. And he was from Thailand, and he used to go back there and visit. And he was back there when that tsunami happened, but he was very north, so he was okay. But it scared the crap out of me because nobody had heard from him, so it was a mess. And if you were there at that time, I'm sure you know exactly what I'm talking about. But that's really cool. Who else is where are you guys all from? I don't normally ask you that, but Jesse kind of got us started on a roll. I like this from Teresa, Free Richard Allen. That is the worst. Let's definitely talk about that today. The Delphi case. I mean, what a ridiculous situation that was. Worse than Moscow, I think, or right up there with them. Really, really ridiculous. All right, we got Canada here. Words Bloom. Also, I think Words Bloom is also a new member to the Mayhem Squad, which is extra brutal. And love both tiers, of course. But I've got merch for both tiers. I've got some here to show you here as we get into this today. But I got a ton of merch. You'll see I'm wearing one of the designs. It's the I Need My 666 Fix shirt. I love it. And so there you go. The Teespring page is amazingly easy to work with. The original artwork for this, I had somebody ask me, the original artwork for this basic logo was done by a real artist, Jeff Gaither, who's absolutely fantastic. I've known Jeff for many, many years. He did several of the Low 12 album covers and some other stuff I worked on, and he's a pro. He's done work for lots of big bands like Van Halen and Testament and stuff like that. And Jeff is cool, and he does stuff for me at a nice discount, and he's very, very affordable for me to do it. But I took his design and I put the blood splotch on the bottom with the I Need My 6666. But I wanted to give credit where credit was definitely due. That Jeff Gaither did the original one. But I got a few things to show you. I'm not going to show you everything all at once. I want to overdo it. But we got these stickers. I ordered one just to see what they were like, and they're cut, die cut along the shape of the sticker. So those are really cool. I haven't put them on anything. I've got another sticker for the art I bought for the I kicked so much ass I lost my leg shirt. I got a sticker for that. That's the cool thing with them is if you order something, they'll give you the option to add a sticker of the same thing to it. And they're show you what they look like and stuff. And if they're only a couple bucks. I mean, it's not much. got these hats in here. I don't normally wear hats ever since I was bald. It's kind of funny. When I had hair, I wore hats. When I didn't have hair, hats felt weird. But it's like they call them the dad, the dad hat, I guess. I think it looks really cool. Um, it fits nice. They also have the trucker style hats, and I put the logo like really big on that one, so that hat would look really badass on somebody. Would look. I don't think I could pull it off, but somebody else could. I'm sure pull that off. And then one more thing before we get into it, I'll show you this. This is a hoodie. Now they have two options for the hoodies. There was one that was, I'm pretty sure there was the one I got, which was the basic one, and then there's like a level above it for like extra, for extra cold. This thing is pretty legit. I mean, it's very legit for a normal weight hoodie. Very warm. I mean, this thing is perfect for me because I'll overheat if I don't if I try to wear something too heavy. So yeah, but this is with the new um, barbed wire design I came up with, and I got a T-shirt with it on it too, and it looks really cool. And the new stickers I have will also be that. So I've got stickers; they're on the way. I'll have them early next week. They're going to look just like, I always get that wrong. Up there, the because everything's in reverse. It's so funny. That sticker up there or that logo up there is what's going to be on the round stickers. They're going to look really cool. So anxious to roll out some new merch, but I'll flash the. I think this is it. That's the website, and I linked to it. I believe I did in this one, but if I didn't, I'll do it on the replay. Link to it in the episode description as well, so you have it. But um, we've moved up in stature or whatever they call it there at T Public, so we're searchable. So if you just go to tpublic.com and search Murder Metal Mayhem, boom, you're going to find it. It's selling really well. I've really been happy with the sales. We do get a small portion of it, but it's pretty small. But the main reason I'm using them is because they ship it. They have, all the people to handle all that stuff, and that's a huge load off my mind. Especially right now, I can't even get to the post office, so I have to have somebody do it for me. So it's nice to have that availability there. But I'll remind you of that later. But I don't want to overdo it because I appreciate your time very much, and you guys know I'm, a basic kind of guy. I don't try to BS you, and I don't try to, sit there and pontificate on stuff I don't even know what I'm talking about. So, that's not me. That's for sure. So, oh man, Chappie, you're awesome, dude. $1.99 super chat. Thanks, brother. I appreciate that. What's going on? Murder She Wrote. I mean, Murder Pete wrote. Yeah. Pete writes a lot of murder. Yeah, for sure. There's usually some murdering going on in my stories or my books, but I don't do the gore. It's a little gory in a few spots here and there, but overall, it's more the psychological thriller that I like The Shining and those kind of films. So that's the kind of style of writing I like to do. The old Stephen King stuff I really dig. Clive Barker, then even going back in the day, Edgar Allan Poe and H.P. Lovecraft, huge influences on me. Um, there's so many of them. There's so many great writers out there that are just great. Dumas, I mean, all those got old school guys I like. The newer stuff, I haven't found a lot of the newer stuff that I like so much, to be honest with you. But the older stuff, really great. Robert Bloch, some of the Alfred Hitchcock writers and all that. But we're doing a free, just a discussion today. We're not going to go and you know get into anything specific. I just thought I'd leave it up to the discussion. There is one thing I wanted to to let you, or just kind of to start it off, if that's all right with you. Um, and I'm sure a lot of you have already seen this, and I just did a video on it today. If you saw that, if you haven't, I've done one. You can check it out. And on the whole body cam release, and what was that about? And I'm curious to see what you guys think about that. I have quite a few comments about it, but I don't want to overdo my slant here. I'd like to hear what you guys have to say. But oh, I see Chappie here says Lee is live getting tattooed right now here in Oregon. So excellent. Lee's such a great guy. Told me to tell you hi. You give him hi right back. Give him that right back. Okay. Lee's a great dude. He's a great guy. I was out looking. I was watching videos on YouTube, and I don't remember if it was in the comments on one of my videos, and I was looking through the comments, or it was a suggested video after something I had watched. But I went to his Devil's Advocates channel, and I was really, really impressed with how he did what he did. He's got a feisty style. I really like it. He talks super fast, and he's got a good sense of humor, and he's very, very pleasant to listen to. He's excellent, and his work is good. He's thorough. So I saw you only had like 2,000 subs. I was like, man, what the hell? We need to get you back. We need to get you up there, dude. Like, you're far too good to have this few. So I started pushing him, and I know he's been on Birdie's show before, and me and him and AR have done a couple lives now, and trying to really get his name out there. But Devil's Advocates, man, just such a great channel. If you like this kind of stuff and you're not already in tune to that, you need to go check it out, because it's really good. It's really good. All right, so let's see. Looking here at the chat. Yeah, Teresa here says Lee is great. Yeah, he is. He really is. And here's Jesse again from Thailand, says we always wondered about the rush to demolish the house. Well, I'll tell you what. I mean, that to me is a comes down to money. It just comes down to money, because, in my opinion, that Esty, the one that owned it or co-owned it with that other guy, and gave it to the university. Now that was weird. Like, why would you do that? It's not even on university property. So I don't even know why you would do that, unless you were just trying to get the hell out of Dodge, which they did, and went back to, I think they were originally from Colorado, and they just went back there. But I don't talk about them much, because I've always heard if you do, your videos get flagged and taken down and every other damn thing. Hey, Mom, good to see you. Good to see you. So yeah, so I don't talk about him specifically, but he gave the house to the University of Idaho, and then the University of Idaho was all about just getting it down, and like oddly so. I mean, they had it boarded up. They had to put security on it, but that's not that big of a deal. To a university, I mean, they could spare somebody on like medical leave to just sit in a car and just make sure nobody goes in the house. Basically, easiest job ever. So there's no other reason for them to rush to do it other than to cover up something. And my guess is that the fact that there's no blood in any of those videos or any of the stills that they released, other than a few specks here and there, maybe a little bit on one wall I've seen, but that's it. I mean, that's ridiculous. Think about the Manson murders and how brutal they were, and you saw everything. I've talked about that before. Really, really nasty stuff. I'm not saying I got to see that, But I would like to see how this crime happened, and it doesn't sound like what you're telling me makes any damn sense. So I'd like to be able to make my own judgment. Thank you. You're paid by the damn taxpayers. So I'm not living in Idaho, but I'm just saying, like, as a taxpayer in this country, I would expect, you guys to be forthcoming with what the hell you're doing. It should be on the up and up. And if it is, why would you have any objection about sharing it and making it public? Got to be something you're covering up. I mean, I used to work when I worked. I'm retired now, but when I did, I worked for an environmental engineering company, and I used to do inspections prior to demolition, also for existing buildings too, for different reasons. But for demolition, to see if there was any environmental issues there, like asbestos and lead and things like that. And so I was in a lot of these buildings, and I know what it takes to tear it down. But this thing was like a house of cards. I mean, it was ridiculously flimsy, typical student housing. So anybody would have known this thing could have come down in an afternoon. It wouldn't have taken much at all, and it didn't. You saw how quick it came down. But if there wasn't the red stuff all over the house, then they didn't have to explain to anybody why that was the case. Because Kathy Mabbitt, the coroner, is saying that it's one of the bloodiest scene or the bloodiest scene that it ever seen. And if that was the case, then where is it? Because it's not in any of the damn pictures you showed us. I mean, it's just absurd. I don't understand why everything's got to be so redacted. Why were the faces of Dylan and them cover or blurred in that video? Like, they're adults. They're not kids. There's no reason that this is a newsworthy story. That to me that's fine. Maybe laws are different there for whatever reason, but I don't understand why you'd have to blur out the faces of the adults, especially people involved in what's going on. So I think that's definitely concerning to me. So, another cool thing that I got is the travel mug. This is legit. This thing is not cheap plastic. I don't know what it is, but it's pretty hard. It's hard plastic. It's got some weight to it. So it's great. I have had 2 cups of coffee through this thing, and it stays hot for a lot longer than any other travel mug I've got. But of course, with the new cool Murder Metal Mayhem barbed wire logo on it. So we got those. And a bunch of other stuff. Like I said, it's kind of crazy, but T Public makes it so easy. So here's Words Bloom, always with great comments. I appreciate the input. Why didn't they record Brian's interrogation? Everything's recorded nowadays. That's a damn good question. When have you ever heard of a modern true crime case? And I always used Robert or Alex Murdoch as like the for modern crime cases, kind of like the benchmark of the classic, how it usually rolls out. You get all the 911 stuff. You get the interrogations they did. There were 3 of them they did with Murdoch. You got all of them. They gave everything over. It was nothing redacted. You saw everybody's damn face. And they blurred out, I think, where the bodies were placed in the scene when they arrived. But that's it. And that's fine. So, to me, that's how it should be done. So if you're not doing it like that, then what kind of games are you playing here? I'm sick and tired of, oh, that's just a weird coincidence. That's just a weird coincidence. You talk to any police officer, and I've interviewed some, and they always say, I don't believe in coincidences. I just don't. So when I find one, I'm hot on the trail. Now, this case has got more coincidences than any case I've ever even heard of. But again, look at Murdoch. All that stuff was all transparent. Those guys did their investigation. There were some issues on that investigation, like there was with Idaho 4 with crime scene contamination. These idiots were just walking through the house and all over the property and probably destroyed some evidence in the process. But it is what it is. They were wealthy people and they just kind of do what they want. And so the cop wasn't able to stop them from parking up on the lawn and going into the house. So, uh, that's that to me. I mean, that's just what should be. We should be able to see Brian's interrogation. I'd be captivated to watch it. I mean, he does seem like an odd duck. I mean, you look at pictures of him and see him interacting. He seems, okay, but just a little off, but hey, everybody to each their own. I mean, that doesn't mean anything. That just means that that's something that would set some people to not really trust him or to worry what's going on with this dude, and that could certainly hurt in a trial with a jury. So, I don't know. I don't know. And of course, they diagnosed him with the autism symptom disorder, and so, I don't know what's going on with that, but if he's being treated, I'm assuming for it. But it's just it should be a lot more transparent. It should be a lot more transparent. But that was a great suggestion for a topic to talk about, because I think that there's something there with how that all went down. And there's so many things like that with this case. That's what drives us all nuts. If it were just that, that's one thing, right? But there's like 40 things like that, all in this big bundle of coincidences that we're all supposed to just be like, oh, there's another one. It's unrealistic. If you were a kid telling your parents this story, right? If you got busted coming in the house late at night past curfew and your dad was waiting on you with a belt to whip your butt for coming in late, and you're coming up with some cockamamie story and nonsense because you're scared and you don't want to tell them what you were doing, and then it's so obvious that you're lying. That's how this is. That's how this is. It's so ridiculous. It's so absurd that nobody that's ever had children that watches that would say that's legitimate, because your mom and dad filters are locked on when you've got kids, and you're seeing through that nonsense, just like a baby, like half crying, right? No tears, but just kind of fake crying. They learn quick what gets their way, right? So, of course, I'm a sucker for little babies. Oh my gosh, I love kids. Behind me, though, you guys see that white door? That's the new bathroom. It's all done. It turned out amazing. I'm so thankful to the VA for the federal grant that they got for me to be able to have it done, because it wasn't originally was not handicap accessible. And so it's on my first floor, but it was too small. I mean, it was small for a small person, let alone a big person in a wheelchair. I just wouldn't have fit in there at all with the chair. So we tore it all out, and we took a closet that wasn't really being used much and emptied it out and gutted it. And so it's a much longer space. And so I'm able to get in there. I took my first shower, if you can believe this, in 15 months. You imagine how you would feel 15 months. I sat in that hospital bed and felt disgusting. And all they give you is these cloths that you dip in water and they make suds and they clean you. I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, if I hadn't showered in 15 months, my wife probably would make me sleep on the porch, but I'm in the house, sleeping right next to her. But yeah, I mean, it works, but it's not a shower. Okay. And so he got me, the contractor's also a friend, and he got me one of those. I don't know what you call them. I've seen them in commercials and stuff. It's flat and it just like comes down like rain. That's amazing. That's amazing. I've never had one of those before. I always have the real basic one, but this is like super nice, and he's really a great friend, and put the bars in there where they needed to be. Had to do some testing yesterday to see if the bars were in the right place, because with the wheelchair or anything, you want to use your dominant side, but you can't use your dominant side for both going in and coming out. So it's got to be one or the other. So the non-dominant side getting onto the shower chair was a little hairy, but I think with another grab bar inside, I think I would be more comfortable to do it, and it wouldn't be a problem. So I've gotten pretty strong being able to pull my big butt around this house with this chair. So, it's helped. It certainly helped. But yeah, it was really nice to take a really good shower. And I shaved, and it was amazing. Head nice and skin, all the way down to the skin, how I like it, real neat and tidy. So yeah, so super happy about that. Yeah, the VA has been just amazing for me. Nothing bad to say about it at all. Yeah. Yeah, voice of astrology here, Karis says 1 year without a shower, I'm done. Yeah, 15 months. I want to make that clear, Karis. It's not just 12 months. There were 3 more months waiting on this to be done, for me to be able to do this. So, and then all the while they were working in there, I couldn't get in there, and take a shower because it was in the progress, and they had to run water lines and all this other stuff. So it was all the way to the wire. Once they were done, then I could go in there and do whatever. And so, yeah, it was brutal. It was brutal. And yeah, nobody would want to go through that. So I'm happy for that. But yeah, that's what that door is there now. So no more plastic up there. Here we got misleading evidence. Says I moved out of a house and had mold in the shower and bath water. So I hadn't taken a real shower in about 18 months myself. I had to boil water and wash from a bucket. I just got done moving. Yeah, that's tough. I lived in a mobile home for years because that was all I could afford. And I think I lived in the last one I lived in was like 13 years, but I had lived in other ones before. Never lived in a house. Um, so I've always wondered what it would be like. So moving into a house, you got a lot of things going on. Especially here, it's 110 years old, so it's an old house, and things go wrong. And yeah, but mold can be bad, but mold can also be harmless. People freak out about it. It's definitely been hyped in the media. Our company used to do, or they still do, I'm sure, do that. But I never really got much involved. I did air sampling for mold when schools had a mold issue and were worried about kids being exposed. I've done that before to monitor exposure and measure it as inside the room versus outside the school, and see what the differences are, because you got a lot of natural like pollen and stuff, and it makes those samples go really high. So if that's where the air is coming from is outside, then you got to close up the windows and not let it happen. So that kind of thing. But yeah, that's too bad. I'm sure that wasn't a pleasant experience. Yeah, open the windows. Yeah, that's the way the buildings used to be, right? So they used to build buildings where the windows were supposed to be open, because yeah, that's how you get rid of that crap. That's why we didn't have that kind of stuff when you had the windows open. But with the new buildings now, you can't open the windows, so that's not even an option. They're not meant to be open, so you can't do that. So it's not the same, and that's where you get the sick building syndrome and all that sort of thing, because people are breathing the same air, and it's just, if the heating and air conditioning isn't doing its thing, you got people getting sick and that sort of stuff, and mold growing from moisture. Let's see. Look and see here in the notes. Teresa's asking, did the Gonzalez ever get Kaylee's phone and devices back? I'm not sure about her phone, but I know her laptop burned up in the fire. Isn't that friggin' convenient? I mean, have you ever heard of a more lame excuse of losing evidence in a case like this to say our evidence, what did they call it? Shed? They called it a shed. Their evidence shed burned down to the ground, nothing left. And Kaylee's laptop was in there. I know that. At least one of them. I don't know if she had multiple ones, but yeah. Well, here I got somebody coming in that I was reading their comments, so I wanted to throw this in there. This is the thing I really enjoy about doing these freestyle lives. I mean, I'm down to talk about whatever you guys want. Honestly, you want to talk about music, you want to talk about true crime. I'm not. I don't want to get political at all, and I'm not into the religious arguments. So that kind of stuff, no. I don't want anything to do with that. Just staying away from it. It's just like the third rail to me. All right, so here 12. I'm wondering if he's a low 12 fan. I'm not sure. Hey, Pete, I was behind and wanted to comment. You mentioned a kid sneaking out at night and coming home to a dad waiting with a belt. The problem is parents don't do that anymore and kids are out of control. Amen, dude. Amen. That's exactly right. That's exactly right. It drives me nuts when I go somewhere and some kids acting a fool and the parents are just like, stop it. And they keep doing it. I know when I used to take my kids to the pool, we belonged to a health club and take the kids swimming in the winter, which is nice when you're cooped up, and go out there and just be like, oh my God, I should have brought headphones with me to just not hear it. It's so ridiculous. And you're in like this big open space, which is echoey anyway. So it's like this cacophony of whining parents and kids. Oh, it's awful. So you're right. I mean, it's just, my dad, and mom, and, in their era, things were a lot more brutal than they were to me. Um, and then from me to my kids, it waters down over time. I mean, think about the World War II generation. I mean, like they consider that the greatest generation of all time because they rose up and met mighty enemies in those wars or in that war with all those battles going on. I mean, just craziness. So since then, it seems like it just keeps getting watered down. When I mean watered down, I mean like more loose. So now the kids can do this, and before you would never let them do that. And then when you look multiple generations down the road, you're like, what the hell did we start? You got kids identifying as a friggin' cat and wanting a litter box in the hallway of the class in the school. Are you kidding me? I mean, that was a thing not that far from me. That was a thing. Yeah. So I just can't deal with that. I just can't. but but yeah, I don't know about the phone. That's a good question. I don't know if anybody knows. Um, to see what you think about what they got back because I don't know. They took all that stuff out. Remember, paraded all that stuff out. That was the most absurd thing I've ever seen. You ever seen cops taking the stuff out of a hot investigation? They hadn't even. I don't think they'd even got Koberger yet, and they're already taking stained mattresses and stuff, just carrying it out, not wrapped in plastic. Again, from my past experience dealing with these things, you're going to double wrap them in 6 mil plastic and fully tape it down. And it's not going to go in the back of a damn pickup truck. It's going to go in an enclosed vehicle, or a dumpster, That's how it's done. Not like that. Not like the way they did it. Just wearing their uniforms, carrying this stuff like it's, helping their kids move home after, the end of a school year, like kind of thing. It's unbelievably loose. And then you get the chief. He's the driver of the box truck. They did have a box truck out there, but not everything fit in the box truck. That's why they had the other vehicles there, I guess. But the chief was the one, Fry was the one driving the box truck. So it's like, this guy's got nothing better to do than drive a box truck to some secret location. I mean, we're kind of springboarding off that earlier comment that Jesse had about, um, about the Koberger. What was I going to say? I lost it, Jesse. But you had brought up this comment, and it's kind of springboarding off of that. Is, you've got this guy just, coming in here and just making a mess of it. I mean, just the whole police department, the way they handled everything was just so bad. And anybody you talk to about crime scene investigations will tell you, the things that they did were just absolutely absurd. And, they took this stuff to some secret location. If you ever heard of this, I've been involved with probably 1,000 demolitions, maybe more. And I've never heard of any demolition debris going anywhere secret. Okay. It just goes to the dump. Okay. Or the landfill. And they cover it up with dirt, and that's where it goes. So it's just considered construction waste. It's nothing special, nothing that's got to be done. Like, especially in a state like Idaho, I'm sure their rules are as lax as they could possibly be to still be in compliance with the feds. So, but I'm not familiar with their laws. So they may have different laws out there, but yeah, it's hard to say, but I would doubt in a state like that the regs would be strict. I would think it'd be the other way around. But let's see. This is a good one. Sarah Temp, she says, I believe Brian was part of a larger scheme stemming from law enforcement. That's interesting, Sarah. I've had the same questions about Brian. I mean, I'm not a fool. I mean, the guy's admitted to doing it, and I know that there are reasons certainly um, for us to have, somebody still involved in the case like this. Is that, the guy he's admitted it. So I mean, there's not really much to say about that, other than making a mental note that there are occasions where somebody does that for other reasons, such as, the alternative is better than trying to fight it. Admitting to it at least gets you less punished, and in this case it did. It got him out of the death penalty. So maybe that's the only reason he did it. What doesn't make any sense is the reason that he did it and said that, no appeals or anything like that. That seems dumb. I mean, I would have certainly gone for, maybe 25 years and then at least the option for parole, or make it 50 years. I don't know, make it 100, something, to just put somebody in there for life with no possibility of parole as a plea bargain seems odd. Certainly seems odd. So, all right. Who else we got out here? Who else we got out here? Let's see. Yeah, 12 says still going to die in prison. I think so too. I think somebody's going to get him. I mean, like AR says, everybody's, got the chance to get got. And whether he's in PC or SEG or, whatever, there's all kinds of ways it happens. Guard happens to just leave a door unlocked. and turns the other cheek for 10 minutes, you know, it happens. This is reality. It sucks because it shouldn't be that way, but that's like justice inside the prison, which is its own society, basically. I mean, I've worked in prisons before. I know a little bit about them. My dad was a parole officer at a women's prison in New York. So, I've heard a lot about it from him, but from working in them as an outside contractor or consultant coming into them, I've been around it, and it's definitely its own society. You have to play by the rules, or you're going to get got, like AR says, So let's see here. Yeah, I heard this too, Teresa, that there was some sort of deadline that he had to appeal it within so many days for it to still be good. But I haven't heard anything about an appeal myself. I will admit, guys, I have, as you've probably noticed, I've backed off a little bit from the Idaho 4 only because there's only so much to talk about. And I don't want to just talk about Idaho 4. I'd like to talk about other cases. But whenever I do, the viewership just goes plummeting. And while I don't really care, it's not a financial thing for me in the least. It's just you hate to talk to an audience of 20 people when your other videos have 20,000 or 30,000. It's that much of a difference. I'm of course not 20, but a couple thousand for a Long Island serial killer video, and get 25,000 for an Idaho 4 video in 2 days. Just boom. So it's hard not to do it, especially the ones that are doing it to pay bills. This is their living, and that's how they eat. So I'm thankful I'm not in that situation, but there are people on here this is how they do it. So, that's why we always say, Cash App and all that kind of stuff. But, you know, we're not, nobody wants to be begging, but also it does take money to do this. Buzzsprout, which is a software we all use, which is like Zoom, it's expensive. They've jacked up their rates because they're the only players in town. So everybody's using them. So their rates like doubled. It really sucks. For me to get a better camera quality, I have to pay like 70 something or 80 something bucks a month to be able to upgrade my quality, which sucks because right now I'm doing this on my phone and it looks good here, but when you see it, it's gone through their whatever and the internet, and it's at like 720 instead of 1080. So it's different, and there's nothing I can do about it. And that's why it can be expensive. And if you're going to do any kind of merch, like that's why this Teespring thing is nice because it doesn't cost anything for me. I could just put the designs out there, and if they sell, they sell. And then if they sell, they print them and mail them. So it works out really well. I got a few other things to show you if you guys want to check it out. Um, we've got just the basic Murder Metal Mayhem shirts, with the Jeff Gaither original logo on them. All these shirts don't have anything on the back, but they're really nice cotton. They don't shrink. I haven't had any problems with the shirts shrinking up on me, so they're really nice. And then I've got another one of the one with the barbed wire on it. I got that as a T-shirt, and then I got from my wife. Let me see if I can reach it. I think I got it. This is cool. This is for the Horns High Club. Check this out. If you're a member on the channel and you want to buy a Horns High shirt, you guys got your own. It's always backwards. It screws me up. you guys have your own shirt there. I think they turned out really good. The hands look realistic looking. It's really cool. So, and the Mayhem Squad's got their own. It's got a mace on it. It looks cool. So trying to mix it up a little bit for everybody. But let's see here. Go back to the chat. See if anybody's. Donna says she's getting the Mayhem Squad shirt. Yeah, definitely. If you guys get any of the merch, if you don't mind, send me a picture of you in it, whatever, just standing there or throwing up the horns or whatever you want to do. And then I can put it up and use it because I've got somebody I know that wears small shirt, like a medium shirt, small girl shirt. And so I'm going to give her one to wear. And then this way you guys can see how they look and fit on people. I think that means a lot, when you're spending money for merch. But this is good stuff. I mean, I've used Teespring for years. I didn't realize that they did this. My friend at the Painted Wraith in Bloomington, Illinois, he's the one that told me about it because they've got one, and his designs are up on there, and it's really cool. So I thought it was worth a try, and if I don't like it, I could stop it at any time, cash out, and be done. So. Let's see. Donna says she gets hers on Monday, so that's cool. That's exciting. I don't know about you guys, but I used to love when I was younger ordering stuff in the mail. Anybody have like a miss? I mean, nowadays it's so much different, obviously, because you get everything so quick, right? So if it doesn't come in 2 days, you're like panicking. Like what's going on? Why isn't it here? Meanwhile, back in the day, remember anybody old enough or older like me or older remembers the 6 to 8 weeks, right? That was like the standard thing, was 6 to 8 weeks. It's like 6 to 8 weeks. I mean, what the hell took so long? I mean, the post office wasn't that much faster back or now as compared to back then, I wouldn't think. Maybe, but not that much. So what are they like building it from hand by hand each time? I mean, it just seems like an exorbitant amount of time for a relatively simple task to put something in a box and send it out. But apparently, it took some millionaire to come up with Bezos to come up with the way to do it, which is Amazon. And I mean, man, it's hard to argue with that. You search for it, boom, that's it. You could look at reviews of it. All right, this seems cool. Order it. If it's not the right thing, you just put it away. It does. Or you bring it back. You just send it back. They don't even ask any questions. So it's hard to argue with it. That's for sure. Okay, here's Sarah again. She says if they have something bombshell like some pictures of Brian at the scene, do they have to declare it before the trial? I don't think they have to. Perhaps defense and the prosecution made a deal. As far as I know, and I'm not a lawyer, I just play one on a podcast. They they have to divulge everything. I mean, there are not supposed to be any surprises. That's they have to remember. I mean, I've got most of my legal education from watching My Cousin Vinny. Okay, it's a classic. If you haven't watched that movie in a while, go throw it on. Order some Italian food and go watch My Cousin Vinny. And then you'll know a lot more about legal stuff because remember, his girlfriend, Mona Lisa Vita, she found that you have to divulge your stuff. What is it called? My smart wife is listening. I can't remember what that's called. Um, Discovery. Well, no, I don't know what it's called, but they have to give it up. Both sides have to share what they have. If it's some 11th hour nonsense, I'm sure that happens like it did in My Cousin Vinny. Remember, he's sitting up on the stand. The sheriff comes running in there and hands him a note, and it was the car, all that. You remember all that. That's what I'm telling you. is you could apply that to so many things. It's really funny, but I'm goofing, but I'm partly serious because seriously, there's a lot of cool information to be had in that movie, and they do it in such a funny way. It's just such a great film. So I don't know. Maybe it's too much with the New York accent for you, but those two on camera were just so good, especially with Fred Gwynn playing the judge. That's just great stuff. All right, let's see here. Why do we need Italian food to watch Vinny? Well, come on, Brian. I mean, you're asking a question like that. I don't know. I mean, when I watch my favorite movie is Goodfellas. I love Goodfellas, but when I'm watching Goodfellas, I feel like I'm not experiencing it enough unless I'm actually eating the Italian food while I'm watching it, or will I have just consumed or good getting ready to consume it. Then it's like it seems right, like on a Sunday. That's like a Sunday movie to me. Throw on some spaghetti and some sauce and some gravy, as we would call it in the Italian world. But yeah, you gotta throw down the Italian. The Italian food is great. Italian food is great. Oh, my mom comes in the conversation, says, Brian, you must not be Italian. I'm betting Brian's goofing around, Mom, but you're right. He's probably not. He's probably not. Because that's like mother's milk, the gravy. I mean, my gosh, if you don't have the gravy down, you're gonna be hurting. You're gonna be hurting. All right. And here's Voice of Astrology. Kara says if it's Italian, she's in love. Yeah, for sure. She's got a quite the Italian name as well. I don't know it off the top of my head, but when she emailed me, I saw the Italian name, so that's super cool. Met some people actually from Italy doing this, and I've had to kind of apologize, for my stupidity for people that are actually from there, because I'm just goofing off, just being a goof. My mom says, Pete, you have to sit down and eat around 2. I think he said 2 p.m. Yeah, with the early Sunday dinner. That's how we did it back in the day when I was living with my mom and dad and my sister, and we would have Sunday dinner, and it was usually an early dinner, and then you'd have kind of like a lunch later. So you might have a sandwich or something later. So it was kind of a reversal of lunch and dinner. That's how I grew up. Let's see what my brother Juan has to say. We should do some restaurant reviews together. That would be funny, Juan. That would be funny. Um, I would be down with doing anything funny like that with you. I think would be great. I'm looking so forward to Juan Molina, friend of mine, the drummer from Blessed with Pain, a band that my band Low 12 used to play with all the time. Took some good trips together, but Juan is definitely a hell of a cook too. So he's really good at what he does, and it's nice that him and his buddies from Blessed with Pain came over and got that ramp built for me so I can get in the studio. So we're working on that. Next step is final cleaning out there and then doing a video tour. And then I'll make that available for the members first. And then everybody after the members have had a chance to take a look at it. So yeah, very cool. Very cool. I see here Mr. A.R. Hayes at Convict's Thoughts. Just stopping by to say hello, give Pete some support. That's awesome, AR. You're a good friend. And yeah, you definitely like to show up in chats and support. And that's awesome, dude. I asked him when I interviewed him when we first met each other last year. I asked him one of the first questions was, what does AR stand for? And he said, always respectful. And I thought that was cool. So then I just like, no, you're more of a badass. We need a better response to that. So I said American Rebel, and that's kind of like between us. I called him the American Rebel before, but it's just AR, and so yeah, it's awesome that he's here to support. Thanks, AR. You're awesome, dude. Let's see. People loving on AR. That's awesome that AR is here with us. So, what did you guys think about the body cam stuff? I mean, that interview with Dylan was interesting. Um, I thought it was strange that they did it in such close proximity to the other group of people so they could hear them. I mean, they should have been doing that at a bare minimum in one of the cars. I mean, like that's how they did the Alex Murdoch one. They did it in the car. That would be a better thing. That and plus she was like freezing. She had like no shoes or anything on. I mean, it was November there, so I mean they should have put her in one of the cars and just let her get comfortable and then talk. But and not let the others hear. You know, especially Bethany. You know, talk about getting your story straight. You know, that's to me that's what they were doing for 8 hours is cleaning up, getting story straight, getting rid of some drugs. Um, Maybe some money. I don't know. Making that house to where it was cool and then let the cops do what they did. And then, as we were talking about, tear the house down as quickly as possible so that you you don't have anybody snooping around finding out that it's not like Charles Manson showed up to party. It's not. Why is it not? Is the $1 million question. I mean, how was it done if it wasn't done the way they said it? You know, I wonder if somebody came through there with a 22 and made it done real quick, real quiet, and could you? Sorry, the dog is tangled up in my cord, and I don't want him to pull my phone off because I'm using my phone as a camera. He's trapped under the table here. My wife's trying to help, so sorry about that. The camera's jumping all over the place here. So he's really tangled up in there. He always likes to be right under the table, and it's funny. If anybody here is a fan of the Trailer Park Boys, and you know, like when Ricky gets like tangled up in something that he obviously could have just walked around, that's what he's like. You know, like there could be like a mile of open space, and there's one spot where there's 3 or 4 cables coming down, and he's like going through there like he's friggin' Indiana Jones looking for some trophy, you know, or some big thing. I don't know. It's just funny. He cracks me up. Very silly. Very silly. All right, let's see. Did from B Fuentes? Did anyone else notice the absence of Bethany in the beginning of the body cam footage? Yeah, I remember seeing her, but it was a little bit later when they moved over by the dumpster and she was like in a blanket with a friend, you know, hugging and all this stuff. That's when I remember seeing her because they were talking to her and then they pulled her aside. So I knew that that was Bethany. But prior to that, I don't recall seeing her. So you could be right. She might not have been there. So then the obvious question is, where was she? You know, in my opinion, she could have just been dropped off because I don't even think she was there at all. I think she was MIA out of that place. I'm telling you, that's what I think happened. I think she is in deeper than anybody here, which is why she's so MIA and why she's so lawyered up and why she's in a different state so that they can't bring her back here to Idaho. Um, that makes me think that there's something a lot more beyond her that we know. And I think she's kind of the linchpin, but it seems like Dylan is made like the sacrificial lamb to have to come up with this ridiculous performance to tell a story that they wanted us to all be told, hoping that it would just go away. Now had they hired a competent writer, I mean, not that I am, a writer, but I'm just saying, not they would have hired a competent writer. I could have very easily written a story about four people being murdered and make it a lot more believable than that stupid nonsense. But instead, they made it so confusing and so illogical and things not making any sense. It was as if it was written by a bunch of third graders. And that's an insult to a third grader, honestly. It's just ridiculous. So there's no way that's real. There is no way. I see it in my comments, people saying psyops and all. I'm not saying that's not the damn case because nothing would surprise me here. All I know is that what we're seeing is not real. It's all fake. I mean, my mother, as I've said before, watching the sentencing hearing, saw all the speeches, very tearful and all this stuff. And the first thing she told me when I talked to her is she said it looked fake. And I had never said that to her before. So she came up with that on her own. So that's a person that's not, all deep into this like the rest of us. Now maybe she is because she's been in these lives, but in general, no. So that says something to me that this is just fake. This is all fake. And I don't know who's real, who's a double agent, secret agent. I mean, this is just nuts. And the more you think about it, the more you just want to go crazy. You're trying to, understand something that just doesn't make any logical sense. So then you have to wonder, was it written like that to come across like an idiot wrote it? But it's like a Columbo thing where the idiot wrote it, but the idiot wanted you to chase it around while he was doing some other nonsense with the other hand. Very possible. Very possible. And I hate to say I'm Black Helicopter because I'm not. But this case has got me to the point where nothing else seems to make any sense. That's why I think the whole thing is just a mirage, some sort of performance. But why they're going to this degree, I don't understand. And here's Lucy Morningstar saying Adele, which is my mom. Such weird vibes from the change of plea hearing and the sentencing, straight up bizarro world. Yeah, I mean it is. The whole thing seems just so odd. Just seems so odd. So, okay, let's see here. We're at an hour. I usually go an hour and a half, so that's the plan. So we'll go an hour and a half. Let me, before I forget, let me throw a couple things up here for you. Okay. I got a new show I'm doing now. It's on the ticker below if you're not familiar with it, but it's called Serial Killer Story Hour. And I do a different serial killer each week. It's Tuesday nights at 7 p.m. Central. And it's just 1 hour or less, so it's short. There was one that was like 40 something minutes. They're shorter, but I talk about one, and they're the obscure ones, the ones people don't really know about. And so this coming week is going to be a good one. It's a much more recent case than I've done so far, and it's Taylor Business, and that's going to be crazy. If you're not familiar with her, wow, you will be. And even if you are, come and join in on the fun because it's going to get wild. And it'll be Tuesday, 7 p.m. Central. That'll be awesome. Also, got memberships here on the channel if you're interested in that. $1.99 for the Horns High Club, $2.99 for the Mayhem Squad. And as things develop, there'll be more things I share with one versus the other. But right now, it's the membership is just the membership, and I appreciate it very much. You guys are really cool about that. Also, if you want to help the channel for free, just drop a comment below if you're on the replay crew If you're watching it live, hit the like button because that helps it get out there to more people. And if you're not a subscriber, please think about doing that before you go so I can get to 15,000. I'm so close. I'm like 14.6 or 14.7, so I'm really close. So let's try and get me to 15,000. And then, of course, the next jump will be 20. So it's been a long road, especially with almost a year interruption in the channel because of my necrotizing fasciitis and leg amputation. So that deterred me for a little bit. But you guys that stuck with me are awesome, and I sure appreciate that. Just a lot of really cool people here in this community being super awesome. So let's see. Looking through the chat. So Charlie Lynn says, did she chop up her boyfriend? She's talking about Taylor Shabusiness, and her last name is Strange. Yes, it is very strange. And yes, she chopped up her boyfriend. We're going to talk about it. I don't want to get into it here because people got that anticipation of what's going on with this crazy named woman. And she's crazy. She's gone after her attorneys twice or three times in court. She's like a maniac, but the last name is goofy, okay? It's not her last name. It's not the last name of anybody on the planet. It's some sort of her boyfriend at the time, maybe it's still her boyfriend, is his last name, and it was like a nickname that people gave him because whatever his last name was. She took that and like even tweaked it out more and then added the shabusiness thing and thought it was cool, I guess. I don't know. I mean, she's a meth head, so hard to say. But, you got her in prison now, but this case was fresh. But yeah, she's a piece of work. But yeah, Taylor Shabusiness. If you want to Google it, it's SCHA business, just like business. So yeah, it's crazy. It's going to be good, Charlie, for sure. For sure. My friend Juan will be on with me too, which will be great. Which will be great. My mom says she wants to be there on Tuesday. That could be difficult, Mom, but I'm going to do it the best I can and imagine that you're not listening to me. Okay. So it's going to be really disgusting. And I will apologize in advance for you or to you. She was off her head. Nice. Scott Metalhead, here he is from the UK. That's my buddy there. She was off her head for sure. That sounds very English of you too, Scott. That's awesome, dude. It's awesome. All right, let's see. I'm just going through the chat here, see if there's anything kind of striking, jumping out at me. Sometimes you guys are just chatting between yourselves, of course. Oops. What the hell just happened? Okay. Yeah, Words Bloom says they didn't ask him to plead guilty. He asked them to let him. Yeah, that was very strange. Doesn't make any sense at all. I'm sure Bill Thompson couldn't sign that damn thing fast enough because he knew he was going to get toasted in that courtroom. I don't see how they would have found him guilty, honestly. There had to be there one person on that jury with common sense enough to see through this shit. I mean, seriously, I gotta believe in humanity that at least one person in Boise has enough common sense to see this as the charade that it is and would have not found him guilty at all. Hung jury. I think that would have been much more the common, and they may have chosen to keep pursuing it or just let it go. I don't know, but at this point, they've already screwed any other investigation up. I mean, we're now reading all this stuff that in the police files and these reports that they write, and it's crazy. I mean, like some of the stuff that we're learning about. I mean, Jack Showalter with blood on his door of his apartment, blood drops on the door of the apartment, and then they go inside, and there's the maintenance guy said there's blood smears on the bathroom switch, the toilet flush, the plunger on the toilet, the flush with the handle, two on the shower curtain, so four total blood smears. I mean, now I know the guy was a hunter, so I'm not saying he couldn't have come in bloody from hunting, but most hunters would normally wash up before they come home. Like I don't, I mean, my dad was a hunter. Has been a hunter his whole life. It's certainly mine, and I don't ever remember him coming home like that, dripping blood all over the house. I mean, it's friggin' ridiculous. So the only reason you do that if you're in a real hurry, right? If you're in a real hurry to get into your apartment, maybe that would happen. If it is, that's strange that he didn't clean it up. It's not like he couldn't see it. So who knows? I don't know. All I know is that they didn't do a thorough investigation of anybody. And so I don't know how they could reconstruct any of that now, unless you could get somebody pressured to talk. I mean, that to me would be the only way this ever would come out, is if you could pressure somebody, give them immunity, whatever it is they did, give them immunity and make them spill the beans on the entire thing. That would be a nice way to end this, because then we would know what happened. But I don't see it happening. I just don't. And it's sad. It's like reading a book and somebody ripped the last couple chapters out of it. So now you're like, what happened? And then the author died. So you're like, well, now I'm never going to know what happened. Like, what's going on, So, yeah, I agree here, Charlie Lynn. They can't place BK there. Can't identify him in the car. Both of those things are correct. Thompson didn't ask BK where the knife was because he thought BK would lie. I'm not sure about that. I'm not saying you're wrong. I just hadn't heard that. But I mean, you know how easy a knife would be to make disappear? I mean, you're in Idaho, for God's sakes. I mean, you could drive 10 minutes out of Moscow and walk through the woods somewhere and dig a hole and put it in there. I mean, how are they ever going to find it? I mean, it is like the needle in the haystack. So it would have been an easy thing to get rid of, to me. Let's see here. Let's see here. Marbell says, I know it's not murder, but slightly metal, but I'd say those ice cream trucks at night are mayhem and spooky as F. Your opinion? I don't know. I mean, an ice cream truck, I mean, as a kid, I mean, that's like, Santa showing up with some goodies. So I got nothing against an ice cream truck. I used to have a friend of mine that him and his wife drove a truck at night, like in the summer, like after dinner time. They would start driving the trucks around until it got dark and then they'd come in. But yeah, I don't know. I don't think it's that spooky or anything. Now, if it looked all beat up and like some dude was all weirded out behind the wheel, that might be a different story. Here's Elizabeth Wagner saying, Evening, Pete. Hello, chat. Well, hello to you, Elizabeth. Good to see you here. Oh. Let's see. Here we go, Rich. Carcass is playing in Los Angeles October 1st. Wicked. I've seen them before. I saw them with Testament up in Chicago, and it was wicked. They were on the first tour since they kind of got things back together. I don't remember, Surgical Steel maybe or something like that. Unbelievable though. Such good players. I mean, man, just unbelievably talented. Yeah, I love the Heartwork era and the uh, what is the one they have? The other one, the one right before that with the crazy title. I can't think of it. But yeah, I love Carcass. Heartwork, I think, is the best they ever did. Excellent though. That's a good one. Good topic. Rich says he's just saw maybe in 90, 92. Now that would have been great. That would have been like right when they were doing the Heartwork stuff. So wow, that's killer with the original drummer too, because I know he got sick. So they had the drummer from like Arch Enemy or something playing when I saw him, and he was badass. He was badass. I had great seats for that too, so it was a really good one. Let's see here. See, Donna says somebody had a good question, but I'm trying to find it now. Here we go. Mark and Betty says, where is the picture of the sheath? There you go. I want to see a picture of it. Okay. It probably burned up with the evidence in the fire. If I was a betting man, that's what I would say. Some stupid, ridiculous excuse like that, like the kid saying the dog ate my homework. To me, that's their dog ate my homework. Is the evidence shed burned up? And and then a few years later, sorry, the refrigerator where we kept all our DNA and blood evidence, it was out. It was out for a couple days. So a lot of that DNA and blood is destroyed now. Sorry. I mean, seriously. I mean, if you were writing about like Reno 911, it would be funny, right? Imagine an episode of Reno 911. Let's picture Payne in those little short shorts that one dude wears. Payne is new boot goofing over there, and the evidence while he's new boot goofing, the evidence shed is burning up in a fire while he's new boot goofing, not paying attention because he got his little booty shorts on. That's Payne. How can we be laughing at that? That's how this is, but this is real life. And it's not funny. It's not funny at all. I use humor because I'm exposed to so much of this crap that if I didn't crack a joke and make it a little lighthearted sometimes, I think I'd lose it. And I don't think I'd keep doing this. So that's the way I deal with it. Everybody deals with it their own way. I've had people approach me about the 666 thing and stressing on that. And I keep telling them over and over again, it's a goof. It's not. I'm not a devil worshiper. I don't worship anything. I'm just doing my thing. And I don't look at it that way, at all. It's not a religious thing. It's not an anti religious thing. It's a heavy metal thing. But I did have an interaction with one person about this earlier today. And he said that he's still a supporter of the channel and still watches my content, but he just doesn't like that part of it. And I told him, I said, dude, I completely respect you, man. You came forward in a very civil way, explained his case, and told me how he felt about it. And I responded just as cordially as he did. And that's the way it should be handled. But unfortunately, people aren't like that. People got to act ignorant and play the fool and get into stupid arguments on the internet. I'm just not doing it. I don't have time for it. So it's just stupid. All right, let's see here. How are we doing on time? Okay, we got about 10 minutes left. I'd like to give away a couple stickers today. Now, I know that there's a few of you that have won stickers. Here's what I'm going to do. So be patient, okay? I'm going to give away a couple of these cool die cut stickers, Murder Metal Mayhem stickers. These are great. I mean, these are fantastic quality, made in New Jersey. So American made stickers, but I've got these. I'll give 2 of them away. And what we'll do is when you win the sticker, when the new stickers come in here in a few days, I'm going to put a new sticker in with each one too. So you'll get one of these and one of the new ones. Okay. Just because I appreciate you being patient and waiting. There's only a couple of you that are in that situation, but I will get you an extra sticker of the new kind just so you can check that one out too, and as appreciation. So let's see. We've got 10 minutes left. Let me think of a question. A true crime related question. Let's see here. Or let's say, I'll give you a minute to answer the question. I'll use the random number generator to pick the winner, and then they will email me their snail mail, and I'll send them the stickers. Okay, so here we go. What product did John Wayne Gacy use in the crawl space under his house to help with smell and to help with the body's decomposing? What did he use as a common household product? See if you know what that is. If you're a true crime fan, I bet you know what Gacy was doing in that crawl space. All right, we're just getting some answers here. I'm seeing some good ones here. I see at least one right one. I see a lot of great suggestions, all of which would have probably helped him out because that crawl space was nasty. All right, we're getting close to the end here. Marbell says, good question. I know this because I wrote a song. As a matter of fact, the intro for the show, the Low 12 Music Crawl Space, is about Gacy. And I wrote this in a song. And here's the answer. I'll give it to you in the lyrics so you know what I'm talking about. Again, this is a song I wrote about Gacy. It says, a little dirt with a twist of lime does the trick every time. I'm the guy who lives next door and buries bodies under the floor. So if you guess lime, you were correct. Some good ones. Lysol, kitty litter would have been good. Yeah, it's just Scott Metalhead was right. Unfortunately, this has to be U.S. because the postage is crazy. So let's see here. Mark and Betty. All right. How about Brian Rambles? The random number generator picked you, Brian. So please email me, Pete at low 12. That was my old one. Pete at murdermetalmayhem.com, and give me your snail mail, and I'll get you the stickers out hopefully this week. They're shipped to me, and they should be here Monday or Tuesday. So if I get them that quick, I'll send it out. All right. Very good. All right, let's think of another one. How many seconds is 11 minutes and 6 seconds total? The total number of seconds in 11 minutes and 6 seconds. Now, if I didn't make it any easier, I don't know what to tell you. But I love contests. I love giving stuff away. So let's do it. You got a minute to come up with the answer there. How many seconds? If you got to use your calculator, I won't tell. To come up with 11 minutes and 6 seconds is what? Okay, here they go. Yeah. Brian won the last round, so you can't do this one, Brian. I mean, you could do it, but I can't. You can't win both. But spread the love a little bit. But you guys are on it. I knew this would be an easy one. I had trust in you all. But giving you a minute. How many seconds is in 11 minutes and 6 seconds? And it looks like we're getting a good number of them in here. The number of the The number of the best. It's the number of the beast. All right. Okay. So we're going to say that stop. It's not Manual did not win. I just saw the. Let me get that off of there so you guys don't take that the wrong way. I didn't mean to click on that one. All right. So let me count here. The winner, Donna Lembo. How about that, Donna? So you got a couple stickers coming your way. And I know I have your address, but this is the easiest way for me to make sure I don't screw up is email me, Pete at murdermetalmayhem.com. And then this way I got your address current and good, and I'll get you the stickers. And thank you for being a mod today. All the mods out there, AR Hayes, everybody else, appreciate that very much. We got about 5 minutes left here if anybody's got anything else. That's cool. Donna won. It's always cool to win something, you know. It's I always think like I never win anything, you know, and then I get, you know, the VA paying for this bathroom for me. I feel like I won when I took that shower last night after 15 months. It felt pretty damn good. I gotta say. I gotta say. I got somebody doing some math here, but it's not right. So 11 minutes times 60 seconds plus 6, not 60, plus 6. There's your 666. There's your 666. But yeah, you got it, Rich. You're good to go. You're good to go. Very good. If anybody doesn't have, if you called the channel 777, what's this? If you called the channel 777, you would have that thrown all over your, thrown all your critics for a loop. Yeah, I mean, when I was thinking of doing the show, because I had this channel back in 2018 when I started the Murder Metal Mayhem podcast. That's how this all started. I've been doing that for 7 years. But I had a YouTube channel for us, but we didn't use it for anything. Then after I got hurt or when I went to semi-retirement, I had more free time. I thought I'm going to give YouTube a chance, try. And I started watching other creators and I thought shorter videos were the way to go. So I was trying to think of something gimmicky, something that would catch somebody's attention. And it hit me because I did a DVD one time of a bunch of low 12 stuff. And it was 66 minutes and 6 seconds. And it was not on purpose. I will admit, when I was mixing it and doing the final rendering, it was 66 minutes and something. And I shaved it down or I added just a few seconds more to make it right on the money, just because I thought it would be a good gimmick. And we put a sticker on the case. If people buy it, just something that catches the eye. So that's the only reason I did it. I was like, how many minutes would that be? 11 minutes and 6 seconds? That's pretty short. So that's why I did it. And I thought it would be catchy. And like I said, coming from the heavy metal world, you know, that's kind of like a thing. But it's not meant to be anything, you know, religious. It's just more like, you know, the rock on or something like that. It's not meant to be anything nefarious. So that's where it comes from. Isle of Shoals, brilliant idea, Pete. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I do longer videos. Now, if you haven't seen one of my longer videos, go to the channel and I have a playlist for true crime deep cuts. Those are all about an hour, and those feature interviews with people and other people collaborating with me. So it's a much different experience than the 666 seconds videos. It's much more involved. My next one is going to be on the West Memphis 3. I've started writing it. And I'm going to say why my basic premise for it is that why is the West Memphis Three still relevant today, even though it's been 40 years since it happened? Why is it still relevant today in what we're doing in the world today? And so I think it'll be interesting, and I'm anxious to put that together for you. But that'd be in a True Crime Deep Cuts, which is not shackled to 666 seconds. So that's where that all comes from. Chappie says that I'm 666 Scott Metalhead. I don't know. Scott Metalhead over in the UK might have something to say about that. So very cool. Oh, here he is. Scott already responded to that. There you go, Scott. Chappie Bass got to see Slipknot 4 times. That's cool. I've never seen them live. Not a huge fan. I'll admit they're crazy and very talented guys. And how anybody plays in a costume like that is unbelievable. I had a buddy of mine that was in Guar for a few years as Beefcake the Mighty, and he had to wear a bunch of that crap. And he's like a big dude. He looks like a football player. And he dealt with it, but he said he hated it because it was so hot, you know. And he played guitar in the band, and I don't know how those guys play the instruments with all that stuff on. So I'll give him that. It's not really my thing, but that doesn't mean it's bad. It just means it's not my thing. All right, very good. Well, guys, I think we've covered it all. I think we've exhausted all the questions, but appreciate you guys coming to watch the live. And if you're on the replay crew, I appreciate you as well. And we'll see you guys next time. Don't forget, Tuesday, 7 p.m. Central, Serial Killer Story Hour with Taylor Shabusiness. You won't forget it. I'll see you then.